All right, welcome everyone to yet another episode of EcoPilot. It's a show where I try and bring interesting guests for playing some games, but also having like a nice conversation. And I really enjoy different perspectives on Magic. And today's guest is a great example of that. So his family calls him Jadis. I call him the Greek Freak, but you guys mostly know him as Mogged. Mogged is like the perfect example of a Magic Online grinder, but I'm pretty curious about his story leading up to this point. So welcome, Jadis, and thank you so much for being here.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
That's perfect because, and talking about your story, I read online that you, at a relatively early point in your career, qualified for the World Magic Cup, and that was like many years ago. Can you tell me a little bit about your start with Magic and how that transpired?
So just like most people, I started playing for fun. I went to my locals, and then I tried to play like the FNMs and then some of the RCQs. And in my second year of doing this, we used to have the nationals then
Right.
that would lead you to the World Cup, which was the best tournament ever, probably in the competitive structure, because it would be the perfect introduction. Like, you go with a team of like more veteran players than you. In my case,
Yeah.
so I went to that. I had so much fun, and after that, I started playing Magic Online. Um, yeah, I
Ye-
guess that's the start of
Yeah, because
Magic.
that's really what people know you for these days, right? So when they think of Mocked, they think about a Magic Online grinder. So I remember back in 2017, 2018, we played a strange format called One versus One Commander on Magic Online. And that's where I started to notice your name. Like, I think maybe the two of us were the players who were winning the most at the time. That's how I remember it, at least.
I
We
think it's definitely my name and your name in the leagues and in the challenges. Yeah,
Yeah.
like we used to play like top eight every other week.
Definitely, it was. That's where I really noticed your name, and at the time, it was kind of strange because every name that I knew on Magic Online, I knew who they were in, paper Magic or like professional play. But you were just like this grinder who was just climbing the ranks, and I thought that was just super inspiring. Also, you're from Greece, right?
Yeah,
Yeah, you're from
yes.
Greece, which I don't know, but maybe isn't the best place to like develop. Maybe there aren't like a ton of players. Am I wrong? Like, is it a good place to be a talent?
Well, yeah, I think you're quite wrong. Like I have been saying like how hard the RCQs is sometimes, because when you have to do this thing, then you have to go play like a local, and you have to face like Sokos, you have to face like Odenelakos every time.
Yeah.
So, and like obviously like 40 other people. So it's like quite tough to get the RCQ invite. And I remember from the beginning, like uh I went we had like a second place in the World Cup before I went with them, and then we won the next year. Like, yeah, so basically my year, it's not the one that we won, but it's like yeah, between second and first place. So
Right.
we always have strong players. We've always had strong players. And the competition did feel tough, and it still is to this day. So yeah,
Okay.
I do think it's a good place for talent. Like, weirdly,
Right. Okay. Yeah. Because it means a lot to have like great players or even better players around you if you want to like evolve. So, but that's kind of cool. But so the I want to ask you briefly about the Odaniolakos player. Is he also from Greece? Is he one of your friends?
yeah, he's from Greece. I mean, that's a funny story if you want to get into it. Like,
Yeah. Sure.
we played like 2018 when we were doing the Commander stuff. We also did the last year of that World Cup qualifier nationals like seeding tournament. So I faced a guy on the like on the last match for the qualifier. Like, we in the top eight,
Yeah.
and only one of us gets to the team, and he wins the yeah he won the nationals. And after that, like, he has been telling me that he's like the longest reigning like the Greek national champion ever since then.
Right.
So the last one, right? Yeah. And then I see his name online, and I'm like, who is this guy? And I then the Odenelakos, I didn't know his name,
Yeah.
and then I realized, oh, it's that guy who beat me in the nationals.
Wow.
And
That's
yeah,
awesome.
like he's like has the second most challenges, and we're both Greek, so it was so funny, and that's how we started hanging out more. And
Of course. So it started as a rivalry, and now you're friends. And now, by the way, yeah, we should mention that. Is how many years in a row did you have the most challenge debates on Magic Online? Two or
uh,
three?
it's 3 years. It's like 21, 22, 23.
Yeah, that's super impressive. Does that come with winning a lot and playing a lot, or like what is the combination there? What's the secret sauce?
Mm, well, I play the formats. Like I enjoy and like do well in the formats that are less popular.
Yeah,
So my wins don't normally come from Pioneer and Modern, but rather Vintage, Standard, and Popper.
yeah.
So it's like tournaments with less people. That's definitely one reason I'm ahead of the curve in that. But yeah, I do play kind of a lot.
Yeah, and I think that's important to say because for some people they just think, oh, Ecobaronen wins all the time or Mogged wins all the time, but also we are picking the right tournaments, right?
Yeah,
We
for sure, for
we
sure.
we care about that, and I think that's important to mention because I want to kind of showcase both sides of the coin. Obviously, you're an awesome Magic player, but it's a great point that you don't play like 200 player modern challenges. That's not how you get so many top eights, right? You get that from playing Pauper, Vintage, and Standard for the majority of the time, right? I think that's
Mhm.
just important to mention. I'm not taking anything away from your accomplishment, of course. I think it's super awesome that hard work pays off. And also, if I remember correctly, did you get your breakthrough in like paper Pro Tour play recently, or maybe 1 year ago or something?
Yeah, sure. Like so, 2023. I was never like doing the all the qualifier events. I
Right.
used to like skip most of them. I wasn't like for some reason like the competitive play hadn't grabbed my attention. I thought it would be like maybe like too much grind and you have to do all these like trips just to get into the pro tour. And yeah, in the end, like I decided to do it, and I immediately got into it. So maybe I should have been doing it like for the past years as well. I don't even know how like I don't even know how the player tour happened and the online stuff. How you qualified for this? Like I must have missed something. So
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah, so if I remember correctly, I saw in coverage you got a ninth place at Pro Tour March of the Machines. Is that correct?
yeah, that was my first pro tour. It would have been so sick. Like if I was one one higher.
Yeah, yeah. You needed just one more match win, and you would have been in the top eight. But that's still an awesome result. So transition a little bit back to online play. When I asked on Twitter who should I bring on my show, and some people were suggesting you should bring Mock for Vintage Lurus. So if I remember correctly, when Lorien Revealed got printed, you were one of the first to build like a good deck, like good Lurus deck with that card. Is that true, or am I lying to myself here?
Um, I'm not quite sure because I remember like seeing this card. Like I remember like MTG Goldfish, and I input the card name. But I think I was the first one with like result like
Yeah,
with Lurus, and then I won like a few tournaments in a row or something,
yeah.
and it became really popular.
Yeah, I
Uh,
remember that. I think the
Bone
first
Master
version was
version.
blue black, if I remember correctly.
Yeah, yeah, it was Bone Master. Yeah.
Yeah, with Bowmasters. So basically, what does I remember when I saw Lauren Revealed and Wasteland and Ursa Saga in the same deck? I thought it couldn't be done. Like, can you talk a little bit about what Lauren
Mhm.
Revealed does for your vintage deck? Like, what's the glue of this card?
Yeah. So basically, Control always had this weird tension that like you play a low number of threats because everything that's not an answer is gonna cost you, right? Because whatever your opponent is doing, like they're winning with like one or two cards, right? So you always have to disrupt them, and
Yep.
then you don't have uh, any space left to add your stuff. And Lorien Revealed kind of does like three things, you know. it gets your head when you have the game in control. It can pitch for like the force of negation and force of will,
Yep.
and obviously like it will get you the second land when you need that. So that's like a super useful effect to have, and that's usually a slot that would be one of those things, and that's like kind of the problem with control, in vintage at least, because everybody else is doing something more powerful than you. So you need every card in your hand to also be able to do a bunch of stuff. Um,
Yeah,
so
I like that explanation. So Lauren Revealed is kind of counts as blue count, draw spell to close out the game, and land count at the same time.
yeah, it does so many things, and it means like you can build the rest of the deck by having a lot of answers, like having seven force of will effects, and also you will have enough lands, and you will have like a way to get card advantage.
Yeah,
And then they can just be answers, and it's fine. And then you hide your win cons in your lands. This is what Urza Saga does for the deck. Because you're doing your land drop, you're holding your mana up, but then you're still threatening to win. And yeah, basically, like trying to win with control in Vintage is like it's not worth it unless you're playing these cards.
yeah, which is, I think that's just a great point. That without Lauren Revealed, you can't play this mana base, and if you can't play this mana base, you need to spend slots on win conditions, and then you don't have enough disruption. So it's like a cascade of bad things, right? So I really like this style of deck, and I think it's pretty awesome that you label it as a control. I think some people, for some reason, think it's like aggro control or like a bit more tempo deck, but I really see this as a control deck as well. The game plan is basically you make sure you don't die, and then you can like take over with Lurrus plus Bauble or a Delve Spell or Lauren Revealed, and then just win with card advantage. Another card I want to ask you about is Lavinia. What does that card do in the vintage format? Why is that so good?
Well, it's just like counters have the playable cards on it. It also pitches to force, and you can break it back with Lurus if it gets counter or dies. Yeah, the card is just powerful. I think it's better than Bowmaster, but Bowmaster is kind of like easier to do in this deck because you have all the small mocks that are
Yeah,
off color, and you can also play instant speed. But Lavinia is a much more powerful card. When you open up with Lavinia and it resolves, like most decks are just gonna concede.
yeah. This card is like super powerful, and you kind of have to deal with it, or you're at a big disadvantage. I definitely agree about that. Another thing I wanted to ask you about is are the one-ups you have in this pile. Can you just quickly go through why you landed on these 5 cards as, let's say, your flex slots or whatever in the deck?
So I used to have like a list without this, and I made a deck on a Saturday. I top it with it, and then I saw Discovering, got the list, and like added some of these, and then won the next day. And then I saw people like doing all this, and I just like stole their ideas and
Yeah,
added the one-offs. And I think Repel I had sort of cleansing, because these are like effects that seem generic enough and like mandatory if you're gonna do this, but then the other ones are like adaptations for like the mirror, and like I like this because when it's good it's great, but when it's not you can just pitch it.
yeah,
Spreading seas is just like getting getting to win like the Urza Saga and Wasteland Wars, like enchanting the Urza Saga,
yeah. Stone Rain,
and
draw a card.
Dress Down is kind of like well, you've always had trouble with this deck when you fall behind on tempo and your opponent starts making tokens. Uh, Maybe this is not an ideal card to have because you don't want the game to go to such a place that you're like fighting from behind. You would rather be proactive in this deck, but still, it's like pretty free to do for the same reasons. Because when it's good, it's great, and also you can do other stuff like blank Black Lavinia, go for like a big counter war, make like Archon null. So there's like lots of uses,
Yeah.
and when it's not good, you just pitch it.
Yeah, it's a great point that as long as a card has like it's blue and it even has draw card on it, the cost to play it is not that high. I think that's a great point for just
Yeah.
in general deck building. Then I see you still have the days in here. I remember your first version also had Gush. Thankfully that card is gone. I hated that card in the
Yeah,
deck.
it's pretty
But
bad. Yeah.
but you still have days in here. Why do you still like days?
Um, because it's you you probably always have an island. I mean, okay, so this deck has the problem on the draw, because you have to keep like different hands.
Yeah,
Your opponent is always like threatening to kill you, so you have to mulligan more aggressively. So it's kind of bad on the draw, but when you get to be on the play, uh, you have some inevitability, so it does force your opponent to play early, and try to beat you early rather than wait late. Like
right.
I always have the mindset, if I survive a few turns, I'm gonna win. I have like the deck that's better in the late game, and um, my opponents like recognizing that they will try to go for an early kill, so they might have to use all their mana. Like the moment they have all their mana available, they should be able to go for it. And this is
Right.
where Date is great because it's like a Nate Forcer will affect in some cases. And if it's not, you can just like pitch it again.
Yeah. So I like that theory a lot. The fact that if the game goes longer, I'm gonna be fine. So I want to focus on the early game. Also, Daze is a card that makes your opponent play differently. Let's say they get dazed game one, maybe they delay themselves the two other games, and that's gonna be an advantage for you. Do you think about that a lot? Like how it changes your opponent's behavior if they saw the daze?
Sure. I mean, I always try to present one-offs in my previous list because it's so hard to play around them. Like, no matter what you choose, it's just like an awkward situation to always be in, to either like play around the one-off or ignore the one-off. Because if you ignore the one-off and get got by days, then that's also a jackpot.
Yeah. Yeah, I like. Okay, you sold me on this one. Great potential. What about repeal? Repeal always feels like it's like my card number 60 in my decks. I'm never excited to play repeal.
Mhm. You used to have like Meta Scroll in this deck, to grab like whatever needed. So it's like it was like a way for message scroll to be an answer to. I think it's quite fine since there are so many like ways you can use it for free. Like sometimes you can just like bounce a mox, but it's it's like the problem the deck has of falling behind and not having a way to come back. Like when other decks fall behind, their way to come back is like try to win, but we can't do that in sufficient like time. So
Yeah, we can't do it all the
I
time.
have to bounce a token from Murza Saga or like bounce the creature and counter it again. Uh, so yeah, it's
One of
just
my
like
favorite plays with that card is when you have Lavinia in play and then bouncing opponent's mocks. That's just like a cool play.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah, so repeal's very flexible, and again, it's blue, so we have 7 forces. Sometimes it's awesome, sometimes it's not very strong. We can just pitch it, but it's going to be serviceable a lot of the time because of a lot of like creatures and zero drops in the format in general. In the sideboard, I only want to ask about a few cards. I'm going to go through here. You have a little bit to upgrade against Saga Mirrors and Oath and Shops, against creatures, against Graveyard and Oath. You have some more like diverse Graveyard Hate. Needle also good against Planeswalkers. Cage also good against Oath. You have a Tabernacle if you get behind. 3 counters against like fast combo. And then we have two white cards down here. Talk to me about balance. I've played this card for 20 years. I like this card.
yeah. It's um, it's a great comeback card, mostly against mono white. I don't like quite remember now, but I added in some other cases, like on the play against control decks, because you will be able to like play some moxes.
Yeah, empty like artifacts and then make it not a
Yeah,
balanced card, so to speak, make it imbalanced.
yeah, you have all these artifacts, so yeah, it's just like a discard in those cases. But most importantly, it's like to come back against mono white because they will play all their creatures, and you're not that good at countering creatures because of Cavern, because like only half your forces work, so they will get on board and you need to have removal, and this is like better in swords than the swords in that matchup.
Okay. Yeah, balance. I've played with this for many, many years, and it's always been like when you're able to play a lot of permanents out that balance does not affect, which is mainly like artifacts, enchantments, planeswalkers, then this
Mhm.
card can shine. And yeah, I'm excited to see if we get to play it today and how it performs. And then the
Yeah,
last one here, you've taken a page out of Mono White's book. You're registering one copy of Dauntless Dismantler.
yeah. I mean, it fits with Lurus, and you're kind of desperate for creatures in this deck. Like if there were more creatures, I would like to have them. It just slows the game down, so you will be able to catch up since you want to post the game to later. This is the
Yeah,
kind of card that does that, and also like I talked about how the deck struggles with answering Urza Saga tokens. That's why we have like Dauntless, Dismantler, and the more generic answers of like Soul of Cleansing and Repel in the main deck.
right. Okay, so yeah, I'm excited for that for sure. So now what we're gonna do is we're gonna wrap up the intro part, and then we're gonna play a few vintage matches. Are you down for that?
Sure, yeah,
That
let's get
sounds awesome. All right, guys, that'll do it for the introduction and deck tech. See you for the matches. All right, everyone, we're here for round one of the Vintage League here with Blue-Eyed Luris. I'm joined by Mog, and we lost the die roll. The opponent, let's see here what the opponent did. The opponent mulliganed to 6. How much stock do you put into your opponent mulliganing to 6? Nothing? Or when do you start thinking bizarre?
Hmm. I mean,
5 maybe?
definitely not yet, because I don't think the deck is as popular, even though I'm not sure how popular it is in leagues. And sometimes, those mulligans involve like the showing your opponent the white artifact card.
Yeah,
The,
Serum Powder?
yeah, Serum Powder. So I wouldn't really, because I think you mulligan a lot in Vintage, and every deck will go through that quite
Yeah,
often.
it makes a lot of sense. So with the opponent going to 6, I mean, what do you think about this hand? So we're losing to fast combo, but
Hmm.
is it really a hand you can mulligan? I mean, I would never mulligan this hand. I'm very bad at mulliganing.
So okay, I I myself have a very like wide keep range. Like I do tend to keep hands that do nothing some of the time. And I could see myself like keeping this if I know what my opponent is on. Like
Okay,
if it's like control, this is fine. Because you will exchange resources and then you will have like huge value with like cruise and dig through time.
right.
But normally, if it's like any kind of creature deck or combo deck and they have the play, this hand's probably doing nothing because we were talking about before, like the deck is not great at fighting from
Yeah,
behind.
playing from
They
behind, yeah.
play at when the board is as like at an even spot, then you have so much like value
Right.
and defenses. But yeah, you're just gonna die if you keep this against anything that's not controlled, I think.
Okay. So our opponent mulligan to 6, and you feel like you don't want to die, so we mulligan?
Yeah, I would mulligan this
Okay.
here.
That's very interesting. I'm taking notes here. So what do we see here?
I mean, another thing to consider in the vintage mulligans is like um maybe the average. I mean, maybe my next 7 is gonna be like worse than this, but also there is so much upside because of cards like Ancestral and Black Lotus. So you're incentivized to mulligan more because you just have some free win hands sometimes.
That's a great point. The vintage format allows to making up for mulligans easier than other formats. That's definitely a good point. So what about this one? Keep and put back Lavinia?
Yeah, yeah,
Okay.
it's pretty good.
We still don't have interaction for turn 1. By the way, our opponent went to 5 here. So maybe that's scary. Let's see.
Yeah, maybe you were right
Leyline of the
about
Void.
the Dredge deck, the
Yeah,
Blizzard.
I haven't seen this card in the main deck in a long time. So let's see what this is.
I'm thinking like
Huh.
Hymn of Obedience, But
Yeah, I was thinking about it. I think the old name for that deck is like 2-card Monty, which is basically um, you throw in like you have Painter Grindstone and then you have Leyline Helm of Obedience in the same deck, like 2-card combos. So let's develop a blue land and a Black Lotus and pass the turn here, or do you like Lavinia? Like looking at that deck, do you think tracking Black Lotus for Lavinia is worth it turn one?
I think it is because they didn't saw a land. So um, okay, like at worst case they will be able to resolve upon there or something.
Yeah, yeah. Okay, so let's go.
You have a spellbook protection. Like I don't know where to put them exactly. If I even think they're blue at all, I don't
Yeah,
think they're blue. But you have the protection from Force of Will. With spellbooks if that needs to happen. Yeah, I think
I'm
Lavinia.
down for this. Do you cycle this revealed at this point?
No, because your hand's like
Yeah,
already on three lands, and I mean you're kind of looking to play a they have like no cards, so um you don't need more like lands. You
yeah,
just
and we
need
have the next 3 land drops, and okay, and this or the saga could turn into like a Soul Ring later, and we can draw 3. Is that your mindset?
uh sure, yeah, or like I mean I'm thinking more
Or draw
we
Force of
don't
Will?
we don't want a fourth land. We want to have a pit spell.
Yeah, right. Okay, so that wasn't much of a game here. At least some interesting mulligan decisions and using our Black Lotus as a Lotus Petal. That's not really what you want to be doing, but sometimes it has to be done.
Mm.
So we saw Leyline? Leyline of the Void. What are we supposed to think about that? Like, I'm thinking Mind Break traps.
Sure, that's yeah.
Even though we don't know what's going on. Do you think plows are going to be good against that deck? Like, the cool thing is here, neither of us like know what we're playing against, so
Yeah,
we can only guess, right?
yeah,
Maybe plows are just bad against the deck with like willing to mulligan a lot and plays leyline.
yeah. I mean, if it's not a bazaar deck because we saw Mox Ruby, so
Yeah,
it's not a creature deck. Um, it's probably like
Helm sounds like a. I could see that. I want to bring in the Fragmentize as well.
oh yes, that's really good.
Do you want to make that like bring in Needle and be ready to name like Helm of Obedience if we guess it right?
I think it's gonna like have a wide range of things that
Yeah,
can name, even if it's not a deck. Uh,
right. What about
and
Flusterstorm? Maybe that's a bad card.
yeah, I was about to say I don't think Flusterstone is going to be.
So now we have 60 cards. Do we like these 60 cards? So the situational stuff that we don't really know whether they're gonna be good, we can put over here. But other than that, we just have like the skeleton of the deck, like the normal cards here.
Yeah,
Maybe this is fine.
we're so ready to like lose to Dark Ritual Children because we don't have any of the swords or anything.
Yeah,
If this is the deck, but yeah, I think everything else we kind of covered.
I think let's do this for game 2 and then adjust if we get more information. Just the concession there was kind of early, so I think that Lavinia was good.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, game 2 here. So it's kind of I usually don't play like in leagues and stuff. So it's actually been a long time since I've played against a deck where I'm like, what's going on here? But
Yeah,
that's also kind of a skill, right?
yeah.
You need to
Yes.
adapt. How do you feel about this hand?
This is the kind of hand I'd like to see
Yeah,
on the draw against almost anything.
right.
Uh,
Yeah, we have
not about
the
this.
force pitch and the trap, depending on like what's going on the other side of the table. Mox Thoughtseize. That's annoying. We let it resolve, right?
Yeah, yeah, we do. We're
That
safe
that
for this turn because they're going to be able to resolve a good thing,
yeah.
but then we need to find a blue card.
Yeah, we're safe. We're definitely safe for the turn. So next turn, if the opponent has something, they can resolve something through the Mindbreak Trap before we get Lavinia. Huh, interesting. Do you want to look at the top card with Bobble here and use the fetch to filter a little bit?
Definitely let's start with that one.
So let's Bobble ourselves here. Bobble plus fetch land. Pretty awesome combo for a small selection.
Ooh.
That's a good one. Then we can hardcast Trap.
Yeah, so I don't want to play the fetch land language. I just want to pass, right?
Yeah, we play. Oh, we draw the. Oh, I was excited that we had turn 1 trap mana.
So I think we're just gonna. Oh, I guess that's No, that doesn't quite work, right? Because we need to use our brainstorm. So
yeah, then we need another Mox underneath.
Yeah.
In order to hardcast trap.
One card deeper to look for with brainstorm for like a force of will if we really
okay, so you're saying play Tundra, draw the Lotus, and then if we get desperate on his turn, we can brainstorm.
Sure. Yeah, and then we still have the fetch land to use it for next turn. Put all the
cards. Okay. So this turn we are at the mercy of our opponent's hand. Let's see.
It does seem like Mindbreak Trap will be able to stop them with what they showed us.
Yeah, that's very possible. Let's see. Dark Ritual. How do you want to brainstorm here? Because if we hit the misstep, we look like geniuses. And we're most likely going to look for a force anyway.
Yeah, and also, I'm also using Force of Negation on this one.
Yeah, maybe creatures will come. Okay, I see.
Yeah.
Okay, let's respond with a brainstorm here. If we get lucky. In this context, we didn't get lucky, but these are good Magic cards. Any strategy as to what to put back here? Like, are we scared of, like, do we want to protect our hand?
I don't think we want to protect our hand. I think we're just, like, facing something that either ends the game, like, now or later. So I'm thinking, like, Sealed. I'm really thinking Sealed. I'm thinking, like, maybe Helm of Obedience, maybe what's the name of the card? Beseats.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
I put back Treasure Cruise that I'm not going to use next turn, and then, wow. What on earth? Liliana of the Veil. I haven't never seen that card in Vintage before.
Yeah, it's not very good.
So, let's see. I have a Lavinia on top. What are we discarding here? Are we discarding Trap at this point? Or do you think our opponent has a play out of this Ancient Tomb?
Well, we need to be thinking that we have to kill Liliana before it ultimates.
Yeah, definitely. That's going to be the game plan.
Yeah, the way to do that will be probably to play Urza Saga. But then we can hold Mindbreak up with Tundra. So
okay, that's possible. So you don't want to go Lavinia next turn.
No, I don't. I mean, I think it's the Wasteland. As weird as that sounds, right? Because they're low on mana, but we will be safe from whatever they play, and then we will start making tokens.
Okay.
And I still want to have the polluted delta in order to do Lavinia.
Okay, let's try that. We discard the Wasteland. So yeah, this is just kind of interesting, right? We play against like a totally unknown combination of cards, and we kind of have to figure out on the. Oh, there's the Helm of Obedience. Okay, so 1 point for you. That was a good call from seeing the leyline game 1. And sometimes you just have to make like educated guesses on like what to expect out of your opponent's deck. So let's see here. We can go Black Lotus, hold up Hardcast Mindbreak Trap, then maybe get ready to discard the Lavinia for Liliana.
Yeah.
We develop the Urza Saga. And if our opponent does nothing, we can Ancestral Recall.
I think we recall round, right?
You want to recall now?
Yes.
We have 4 mana there. Okay, perfect. Yeah, I like that. Okay, so we can even play Sol Ring out. Do you want to crack the bubble right away?
So, I think we would do that on the upkeep because of Bowmaster. Like, they seem like a mono black deck. Maybe they have Bowmaster. I'm not sure how that deck would be
Yeah.
good.
So if they
I
have
wanna
Bowmaster, we should probably crack it now so we draw on their upkeep. But is that what you're saying?
no. I'm saying we shouldn't do that because that
Might
because
punish us?
if we do it on if we do on our upkeep, we it's like they don't know if they need to keep their mana up, and then we can counter the Bowmaster if needed. I think this is
Okay. Yeah, it's not. Yeah, maybe it's not gonna change so much. Maybe it's fine. So also we're very close to having Lurus online. Okay, Time Walk here, emptying the opponent's hand.
okay. Let's crack Bubble now, because they don't have any other cards in hand, and
So let's get some more info. The opponent's gonna draw Leyline of the Void.
yeah, they're just going to 6 loyalty, and then
Hmm.
we probably have to look for Time Walk or
But
Rebel.
maybe we just counter this one and we don't have to worry about that.
Yeah. We just can't do it.
Yeah, let's trap. Tough one. Oh, something happened there. Oh. Okay, so Mindbreak Trap, counter the Time Walk, because we're kind of in a race here against the Liliana, and if we get rid of that, we should be in good shape here. Wonder what we're discarding here. You still like discarding the Lavinia, because next turn we're gonna go like Treasure Cruise, activate Saga.
Yeah, sure. I mean,
Maybe we get a land anyway.
no. Let's discard Lavinia. They're not casting any more spells.
Yeah. So Liliana's at 5. We draw. Great draw. Okay, so now we can. Do you want to play Lavinia? Or is that just doesn't do anything? We can play Lavinia and activate Saga.
Playing Lavinia means they will be able to resolve a 4-drop. I'm still thinking Seal Dread. I don't know.
Yeah,
I don't
okay.
want to.
They have Leyline of the Void on top of the deck. We saw Leyline of the Void, so if
Oh,
we.
sorry. Yeah. Okay. So yeah, just
So I think I like that play. And then if the opponent goes -2, we make a construct.
yeah.
So let's go Lavinia, pass. I guess we should have just thought about that before. That Lavinia was like decent here because it blanks the draw. Opponent goes -2. We make a construct, sacrifice that. They have a leyline in hand they can't cast. So what do we go for here with Ursa Saga?
I don't think the mana is useful anymore. Just do like Pithing Needle, name. I don't even know.
If we needle,
Because you don't need to name Helm anymore.
maybe we can just name Liliana and start attacking our opponent.
Yeah.
Maybe that should be fine. Let's see. Liliana of the Okay, yeah, okay, fair enough. The opponent conceded there. Not much to say. They mulliganed and we had some good stuff. Also, our opponent didn't really play like a tier 1 strategy, but we still had to adapt and make some interesting choices. Let's see what we're playing for round 2. Don't go anywhere. All right, everyone, we're back for round 2 of our matches today. I'm joined by Lurus expert Mogged. Welcome back. And we lost the die roll again. And you told us during the intro that this deck plays poorly from behind, so we need to win some die rolls.
Mm-hmm.
The opponent mulligans to 6, and we're looking at this hand.
So I think this is quite powerful if you ever get on top.
So we're looking at.
Oh, never mind. So I thought this was a Mox. No, this seems bad. Yeah, because we're like 2 turns away from ever casting anything, ever impacting the board. That's probably enough time to kill you in Vintage. So
Okay.
yeah, I would just mulligan this hand. Look for something better. Maybe a Force of Will.
So despite we can go turn 1 Wasteland, turn 2 Strip Mine, while cantripping a little bit, and then a few turns from now we can go like Time Walk into Lavinia or something, you still like mulliganing because we're too scared of what's going to happen turn 1 and 2?
Yes. I mean, if we don't know our opponent is on control, in which case we should keep. We will probably be very bad against any kind of creature deck or a combo deck because they will have fast mana and our lands won't matter as much, and we don't have a force of will. Like if they're paradoxical, they're resolving an artifact like the ring, which wins the game. If they are like a creature deck, then they have an initiative creature which wins the game, and we can't do anything about it.
Yeah.
So there's like too much danger to keep such a mediocre hand.
Yeah, it's very good logic. Like you basically mentioned all the metagame here. If the opponent is on like Jewel, like combo, we lose. If they're on initiative with a play, we lose. Imagine if our opponent goes like Bazaar, Hollow One, Vengevine, we also lose. Like I think it's an interesting way to evaluate your hand because if we don't think about the metagame, this hand looks fine, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's very, very good insight. Okay, so what about this? I would imagine once you go to 6 and you see a mental misstep, it's very hard to mulligan further.
Yeah, I mean, I think this is fine. It's like two unknowns possibly, but we do have the protection if we get to untap with Misstep and Flusterstorm.
What do you mean two unknowns? Do you mean we don't know if Flusterstorm is good against the deck?
No, I mean the bubbles are gonna turn into. Like,
I see. We're cycling into random cards. I understand.
It does look an okay reactive hand.
So what are you going to put to the bottom here? Bobble number 2 or Lavinia?
I think I'm putting the Tundra.
You put Tundra back and then you kind of trust your deck to find another land?
Because we're on the draw and we will have like 4 new cards, so it's very likely that we'll have one land. I don't really want the third land. I want to draw like a blue card.
Yeah. That's I like that logic. Very insightful. The fact that we have a draw step, 2 bauble triggers, we can even filter one of them, and we get an additional draw step. That's a lot of time to find the next land. I like that a lot. So, ooh,
Misstep, yeah, doing work.
misstep doing work. Did you ever play a format with 4 missteps in it?
No, never did.
I played Vintage with 4 of these, and I played Legacy for like 1 week with 4 of these. It was not fun.
Yeah. It's the kind of card that when it exists, like you just have to play all copies because you counter your opponent's missteps.
Okay, we see a Sol Ring on top of our deck. That's not exciting. We need to shuffle that, right?
Yeah. Our hand doesn't have any colorless mana. We can't really use it.
What do you like to do here? Like, opponent played Sol Ring.
Yeah.
So, Mono White doesn't play Sol Ring, but he could be playing like another Wasteland deck. So how do you play in this spot?
So I feel like we're into this like unknown territory that none of us really know what our opponent is doing every match.
Yeah.
And you have to guess through like all the history of Magic,
Yeah.
So I don't know. I have no idea because they don't have a blue source, right? They didn't show us a blue source.
Yeah.
So I'm not thinking combo, but I'm also not thinking initiative.
Yeah. Okay, I'll gamble here. Let's go for this one. Do you like cycling the other bubble just right away?
Yeah, for sure.
So we can see what's going on over there. We see a Tinker, so...
Okay, so it is a combo deck. Yeah, okay.
So right now it could be like normal combo deck, or it could be something like Oops All Spells, basically. So I would imagine the opponent does not have a play here, since they didn't... Well, I guess like slow rolling something like Tolarian Academy, that is possible. No play here. We have drawn Lavinia number 2 and Dress Down, none of which are very good. Force of Negation is pretty good safety valve here.
I think being in this situation that we both have nothing, we both predict, it's kind of favorable for us because we have more land sources and they have more pressure to start doing something, and we have really good defenses against that.
This is like what you talked about in the intro. It's like if the game goes longer, we generally like our spot with this deck. We draw us a Saga, that's a second land. Doesn't cast Lavinia, but it does do something. If my opponent doesn't do anything, we cycle the stress down, correct?
Cycle looking for a land.
Yeah, just trying to dig further in the deck. Okay, Grief is a good one here, pitching Cabal Therapy. So we are actually against Oops All Spells, I think. So, ooh. Was I supposed to dress down there?
I was thinking about it. Not anymore.
I didn't think about it. I
Because,
didn't think
okay,
about.
what's a 3/2? What's like? Why does that concern us? I'm thinking we would tap out of blue, so not able to use Flusterstorm, but we would still have Force of Negate, and then it's a 3/2 that we probably always are able to beat. Since you're saying they're Oops All Spells, that means they have like no wastelands.
Yeah. I think the correct play there was to I like dress down because I
We
can.
could get the land and close up. Yeah.
I think this deck pretty easily beats a 3/2. So let's see here. We draw a Brainstorm. The opponent has a Tinker and 3 unknowns in hand. Do you Brainstorm now? The thing is, we don't. If our opponent just goes land, play like a Undercity Informer, no, then we can plow it, I guess, and we can counter our mocks. So maybe it's okay to wait.
Well, yeah, if we somehow break, then it's a tough spot. We can just avoid this risk. And this is the kind of deck you win with a clock, because their top decks are really bad. Having to play all this combo stuff and like build the entire deck means they have like a lot of dead cards.
Yeah.
So the longer the game goes, the more it is in our favor, and we don't want to take a risky line.
Also, can they beat Lavinia?
No.
Then they can never Dread Return.
I'm not sure. Like how do they win?
It's Dread Return on Thassa's Oracle.
Oh, so yeah, they can never beat it. Yeah.
So how do we feel about this ritual? We're supposed to counter it, right?
Yeah, because you might have an issue dealing with the creatures. Like if they play the Informat or whatever.
Yeah. So if we fluster this, I think we're just in great shape. We don't have to Brainstorm, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Also, this deck plays Pact of Negation.
Right. Flusterstorm pretty good.
So yeah, let's see. I feel like if we get to play Lavinia, we win this game.
Yeah, you feel like a conceived incoming after the Lavinia.
Definitely. So now we don't get any creatures out of our Saga, but we can just go get a Mox and cast Lavinia. How do you feel about that?
Sure, I don't even want to Brainstorm before the
exactly. I want to keep that Brainstorm. So let's float 1 mana from the Saga and go get... We like Sapphire the better. Sapphire doesn't cast Lurrus, but Sapphire is better with our control cards. Ooh, nice draw. Let's go get Sapphire. Then let's play Lavinia, 1 colorless floating. If the opponent Force a Wills, we Force a Will back. Which card do you pitch here to Force a Will? I guess we pitch the Brainstorm because then this helps on the opponent's turn.
I think we pitch Lavinia, right?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, because he cannot have double. Well, he can, but...
Oh, maybe you're right. Yeah.
Maybe just pitch the Brainstorm because this is not really going to do anything.
Yeah, we figured out what they are, so we don't need any more cards. We just,
But yeah, in normal circumstance, we can just pitch the second Lavinia. Okay, there's the concession. So, as I was alluding to, this deck wins by going Undercity Informer or the Balustrade Spy, mills all of their deck, and then it wants to Dread Return into Thassa's Oracle with an empty library. But since Dread Return is a 0 mana spell, well, you pay 0 mana for it. It's countered by Lavinia, so that card is game over, game 1. Okay, oops all spells. They will probably have like Goblin Charbelcher or Plan B.
Mm-hmm.
I wonder how much we should prepare for that. I'm going to cut the plows again. I don't think that deck has any creatures.
Yeah.
Do you like Dismantler, or is that just too, not very impactful?
I'm not sure. Like, depends on how many cards we end up not
Yeah,
wanting.
yeah, that's
Some
true. Right now I have room
out.
for 4. I mean, the traps are 100%. We can cut the repeal.
Definitely got the repeal.
So let's see. Do we have any other like bad cards? I actually think this dress down is okay because against the, I think against the spy, that's an enter the battlefield effect. So if we respond with dress down, it just time walks them.
Misstep is always bad. I
Which card?
guess misstep, mental misstep.
Mental misstep. They have 4 dark rituals in the Sol Ring though.
I just think is that enough? I'm not sure. Like
I
it worked
think.
this game, but yeah, it seems kind of narrow.
Yeah, I mean, we can cut something like a wasteland maybe. Or is that bad? How often do
I
you?
actually prefer Wasteland over Saga in this matchup. I don't think you really need a clock like as I was because
Yeah, I can.
they
I can.
will
Okay.
eventually lose to their own top deck because yeah, so many of their cards are not playable.
Yeah, I can definitely see cutting like one or a saga. So right now we have 60 cards. Is there anything here you don't like?
Um,
I want to keep the misstep like Dark Carnadog Ritual counter. Uh, what do I know? Cabal Therapy, Soul Ring, Mana Vault. Like I think it's gonna be fine.
yeah, I think this is fine. I think this is fine.
Kind of a tricky matchup because a lot has to do with your opening hand.
Yeah, once you know, it's so much better for you though.
Mm-hmm.
Because even a 5 will get there if it has the tools.
Yeah. All right, welcome back, everyone. A bit of a technical issue here. Terribly sorry about that. I'm not a computer technician. I just know how to play Magic, and even that is debatable. We're up 1-0 here against Oops All Spells. I'm joined by Mogged, and yeah, we're having a great time with Vintage. It's always awesome to play Vintage. So the opponent mulligans to 6, but I guess that's not really relevant for us. We have a 0 mana interaction, so pretty easy keep here.
I think it's quite close actually, because I find that they will have a very explosive turn one. Their deck doesn't usually set up; they just go for it. So sometimes the 7 you keep is like all the cards that will matter in this match. Um, it does have a forcible. Maybe you can mulligan for a better one actually, because you can get 2. But the thing with this hand is like if you ever get to untap, it's probably really really good.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think it's a key, but it's kind of a close one, right?
Yeah, for me, I think just the risk of seeing a 6 with still 1 interaction, maybe worse. I think it's just too bad. And I think the context is also they're gonna respect like Mindbreak Trap and stuff a lot more, so they'll keep like a slow hand more often after sideboard. So I think we might even get more time.
No, that makes sense. That makes sense. Yeah.
So it's a bit of a mix because you don't want to lose the game just now, but you don't want to mulligan your way out of the game either. Like I always keep these hands, but I think it's an interesting perspective that maybe we just lose to combo
No,
with
you're right.
backup.
No, I think you're right after explaining it because if you're saying they're bringing like Charbelcher, right? That probably needs 2 turns. Um, like that needs more setup.
Yeah, the plan B is always interesting with that deck because let's say your opponent. Now we're not going to start with Leyline, but we could be playing like some kind of graveyard hate. Then they kind of need to prepare for that. I just think the sideboard games are more interactive. It's like Legacy Reanimator. I don't know how much Legacy you play, but it's like yes, it's a turn 1 deck, but they also take advantage of the fact that you think it's a turn 1 deck. If that makes sense, then we start mulliganing a lot, and they just keep like a hand and hardcast Grief and Bowmasters and stuff, and can kind of win the game like that. Okay, the opponent mulliganed to 4. with no play turn 1. Huh. So let's bobble our opponent, see what's going on. Opponent is drawing a Sapphire. How do you feel about Probe in this situation? You want to fire it off and then use Dig Through Time as force fodder and then maybe cast Lavinia next turn?
Yeah, I mean, getting all the info.
Yeah, info is pretty strong here. Let's see if that Sapphire makes our opponent explode or not. I guess not. We drew a cage. So we can just go land, Sol Ring. Do you like to play out the cage? That means we can't lure us back Bobble later. Maybe we keep it.
Maybe we do. I mean, at least for now, it doesn't seem like.
The next turn, the opponent is drawing a Sapphire, so they will have these 5 cards to play with.
Yeah, we could just pass.
Yeah, this is a game that's really ours to lose. I mean, if we play right, we should be heavily favored this game. Chrome Mox. They play this out because of Lavinia, which is smart. Sapphire. So that's gone, that's gone, that's gone. My opponent has Negation and Dark Ritual in hand. And now we play a Lavinia.
Should we? Oh, never mind. Yeah, I mean, if they just, yeah, whatever, they can cast anything, right? Because the creature needs like.
Yeah. So they could have cast a creature. Like if they just draw the creature.
No, they can cast it because of the, yeah, they don't have the third land.
Oh, so. They don't have, I see, they don't even have the first land in play, so not even Dark Ritual is castable. Yeah, this is just, like, this is obviously some very fast games, but I think the point that Lavinia just locks out different decks, like, against Vengevine decks, they can't cast any, like, free forces or Noxious Revival. Against Oops All Spells, it's just like a game over card for 2 mana. Like, that's just extremely powerful. Okay, we got there on against the second combo deck. Let's see what we can play against in the third round if we can get a bit more turns under our belt. Don't go anywhere. All right, everyone, we're back. This is round 3 of my vintage adventure with Mogged and his favorite deck, Blue White Lurrus, and we won the die roll. So what can possibly go wrong? We're playing against an unknown opponent, and what do you think about this opening hand, Mogged?
I really like it. Seems like more of a on the draw hand to me. It's fine here. We don't have any, strong opening like Lavinia. But this will turn out alright, and we can control our top deck with Mistress Bubble.
Yep.
So yeah.
Get a little bit more quality here, a little bit of selection out of the bauble. We have a Seal of Cleansing. Seal of Cleansing is good against like everything from Ursa Saga, Oath of Druid. Like this card can do a lot of work in Vintage. I really like that card. Opponent keeps 7. Let's see what we have on top. We have Ursa Saga. Do you want to draw a second Saga in this situation?
No. I think that's if they are fast enough to beat our Force of Will, then we might be in trouble. So we rather be looking for another defensive card, like Lavinia, or another Force of Will, or some card advantage actually.
Yeah, let's see. We get a Treasure Cruise for our trouble. Maybe that's going to be good like soon enough.
Yeah, I think that's pretty good.
I love this card. I play it in Doomsday as well. It seems like not everybody else likes it in Doomsday. I think it's great. Wow, what's going on here?
Yeah, so there's definitely a pattern here, right? Of like opponents not playing a land ever.
Let's see if that pattern continues, or it's just they checked if we F6'd.
Okay. They just try to, do the whole like F6 tick casting.
Yeah. So, okay, opponent cycles for a basic land past a turn. We get our land here, right?
Yeah.
Let's go get another Tundra. Did you ever play any splashes in the deck like this? Did you ever play like one Underground Sea or one Tropical for some tech?
Not really. Um, I think you end up with low mana, so not being able to cast something is a huge hit. And we have all these colorless lands like Wasteland and Urza Saga
Yeah.
that I just want to be like as consistent as possible.
Yeah, it makes a lot of sense. You're trying to make this deck the best fair deck possible, and if you start adding, like I splashed black at some point and I play like Time Ball and stuff, it's like we're trying to go in another direction. I'm trying to have a little bit of unfair sprinkled in.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's reasonable. I think the Time Vault combo is really good, but the problem is, uh, they like sideboard you all the null roads and everything.
Yeah.
And if you don't have that, then their sideboard is like semi. It's like okay,
Yeah, so you're to like taking it to the next level and saying if you open yourself up to a lot of counterplay, that gives your opponent some edge, so we can take that edge away by just playing the fair shell. I really like that as well. So what do you want to do here? Do you want to start Ursa Sagaing?
yeah, I wanna play Ursa Saga. I wanna self cleansing. They seem to be doing something definitely next turn, and even if it's just like stopping mana from the Flusterstorm, I'm happy to kill like a Mox.
So we play this and we try and kill Mox Sapphire before the opponent starts to playing anything scary. Oh, we get drained.
Oh,
That's funny. How do you feel about this?
I
If
I think
we it,
we have to let it happen.
if we force a will and we kill the Mox, we have a Treasure Cruise next turn.
Yeah, but like if they do, Land Tinker, we die.
Yeah.
Um,
Okay, I can see that. So we're basically saying, okay, fair enough. You play a 1-for-1 spell, you get a little bit of mana boost, but if we can stop that and refill with Treasure Cruise, we're in good shape. That's fair. Opponent gets 2 mana here. Oh, Mana Drain. I used to play this a lot when I started playing Vintage as a kid. That's just an awesome card.
I used to have it in this deck as well. For a little while.
Oh, wow. That's great. Okay, so no play out of the opponent's, develop a Mana Vault. Okay. Opponent played Urza Saga. We draw Wasteland. How do you feel about this scenario where we have Urza Saga, but they also have Urza Saga, but if we Wasteland, we can't do anything with it?
So we do have the dress down, um, which means maybe we want to let make a token first.
The
To
thing
get
is,
lures.
dress down is also going to kill our own token, so it's kind of.
Yeah, that's a problem. That's a problem.
So for me, this dress down is like my Force of Will pitch at this point.
Yeah, so
maybe
just gonna.
Maybe we just Wasteland.
Yeah, maybe we just waste.
But it's not the best scenario. Let's Wasteland here. Opponent float some mana, as you should. Let's see
The second Urza Saga is definitely like helpful here because we kinda need a clock at some point.
Yeah.
But waiting is just fine because we will refill with Treasure Cruise. Yeah.
Yeah, the good thing about this is, even though we don't get any tokens, but next turn we get to Treasure Cruise and play a new Saga while holding up Force of Will, and that's pretty good. How aggressive are you against like a blue matchup, getting like Lotus going and trying to play Lurrus and stuff? Compared to just getting like Sol Ring.
I think I usually get Black Lotus. But yeah, the Sol Ring play is like it's quite often. And you usually want to wait, so Sol Ring is better. Yeah, Black Lotus is when you don't have many other options.
So for this scenario specifically, the opponent did not play a land, so I think they have kind of a reactive hand, like with counter spells and stuff. Opponent with 4 cards in hand did not play a land, did not use their drain mana. It kind of smells like more drain, in my opinion.
Yeah, I don't want to be playing Treasure Cruise into that. So I think we should just go for lures, right?
So do you like getting Sol Ring here?
Yeah, getting Soul Ring.
Let's get Soul Ring. Now we have 1 mana floating from the Saga. We can put Lurrus in hand. Is that the plan?
Yeah, yeah. I think
So
this
let's put
is...
Lurrus in hand, play Ursa Saga, play Mox. And then you're saying let's not get mana drained because we kind of have the Ursa Saga, so the draw go situation is good for us. Or do you like playing?
I like playing Lures. I don't care about mana drain. Like they're gonna have like 3 cards, and they need to have they need to have
So
a way to go off and a way to stop our Force of Will as well.
Okay.
And yeah, and if they're mana draining, they're using one of their stuff.
So they
this
force pitched Dress Down. How do you feel
this
about
is
that?
exactly what you want to happen with your Lures. Like get countered and play the slow game because you can counter the next turn and then Treasure Lures will get you there and you have the clock on the Saga. So
Yeah.
this is the best case scenario.
Yeah, I like this a lot. Like we had this free card number 8 in our opening hand, and my opponent had to force a will to get rid of it, right?
Yeah.
So great advantage, card advantage scenario here for us.
It should also tell you that their hand is probably slower, like it doesn't win immediately.
Yeah.
So they thought Lurus getting a card every turn is a good enough card to go.
Yeah, so that's a great point. If they could win this turn, they wouldn't care about the cat. So let's see here what the play is from the opponent. Okay, so we counter that pitching the Dress Down.
Yeah.
Opponent has 1 card left. We have 1 good card left. Okay.
Oh wow.
So the opponent can refill here, and we can refill, and we kind of have a game. We do have an online Ursa Saga, though.
Uh-huh. And we will probably be able to resolve Trust Cruise unless they have a Force Will on their own.
Yep. Yeah, Island wasn't the best draw, so we can just exile the whole graveyard. As long as Lurrus is gone, we don't care about the graveyard, right?
We don't care about the graveyard, no.
Then it's only the second Delve spell in the deck that kind of cares about the graveyard, but that's fine. Okay. What do you feel about this? Do you like to hold up Fluster, or do you like to cast that Ponder? I feel like passing here.
Yeah, passing is great because we will eventually win with Saga, as it seems. And then we just need to protect against the next unfair thing, which, Force of Will with Fluster is probably good enough.
Yeah.
What we need to worry about is like Saga at this point, but we do have the Ponder in that case, so we can look for a Wasteland
Yep.
or a Rebel or something.
Lots of looks to go get. Okay, no Saga. But yeah, as you said, lots of looks to go look for a Wasteland in case we need it. With 3 cards in hand. And they already showed Dress Down, so maybe we're going to fight that card this game. Tundra, not the best draw, to be honest. I guess, what do we search up here? Bobble? Yeah.
Yep.
Let's do that. Maybe... Let's see. Maybe attack for 5 and see what happens.
Yeah, let's attack first. I think we're countering the Dress Down if that ever happens.
Yeah, I like that. Opponent does not have the Dress Down. I assume they would have cast it there. We can play 1 more Tundra. Same plan with passing, having the Ponder as a backup.
Maybe we should be looking at the top of the deck in case it's like a blue card, and then that's like...
Yeah, I see. But then we're also making the token smaller. Maybe that's not smart.
But it's not like we're winning next turn anyway, right?
Probably not. It's like if we draw an artifact, then they can't correct this fetch, for instance. Like there's some situations where the shrinking is gonna hurt our clock.
Do you think like for them like they have to go now or be silent forever?
Yeah, I think their mindset should. Also, they're taking 1 off the mana vault, so I just need an artifact and I'm have lethal.
Oh yeah. Okay.
I feel like this fetch could be blanked, or yeah, just the fact that I can ponder into a random artifact next turn and then I'm winning the game on the spot. I think that's valuable. And if my opponent goes nuts, I have Force, Pitch Ponder, Fluster backup. Yeah, I think this is some good scenarios. Okay, the opponent's untapping here, so that's a good way to make sure they get another turn. Okay, 3 mana from Academy, nothing. Okay. Okay, now I can consider cracking this bauble.
Hmm. Um, well, this goes according to your plan, right? Because they can't fetch, but they have infinite mana, right? So you need to hit 7 artifacts. They have so much mana.
Yeah, right now I'm basically saying I want to get deeper to look for cards like
Yeah, because
Time
you want to
Walk,
kill.
Lavinia, stuff like that. I think that's I think it's a good time to crack the bauble.
Mm-hmm.
Mana Drain on top of the opponent's deck. That card brings back a lot of memories. Okay. So let's see. Can I hardcast, force, and play Fluster and
You can,
Ponder? Yeah.
yeah, you can do everything.
Okay. So let's start with Ponder. Maybe that Wasteland is strong. Maybe
You do
not.
like Wasteland.
I kind of feel
But
like I
if the
want to have
Wasteland,
2 counterspells.
yeah, if you do the Wasteland, you're not going to be able to have the counter spells. So is it just Brainstorm? It's just drawing Brainstorm.
Drawing Brainstorm, then playing the fetch to clear the rest.
Yeah, yeah.
Is Brainstorm better than a random card? I guess it is. Yeah,
Yep.
that's fine. Brainstorm, no shuffle, play land, play Mox, attack for 10. Opponent draws a drain. So I'm basically hoping that I get to Force Pitch and then Fluster the mana drain for the win. Let's see.
You won't be able to Fluster though, right? Because they have the Tolarian.
Yeah, maybe. I guess it depends on how big their first play is, I guess. But yeah, you're right. They have a lot of mana. Okay, so obviously they just had like reactive cards and mana, nothing to do. What did we learn here? We saw only like we saw Ursa Saga basically, and then we saw 2 islands. So maybe they're like some paradoxical outcome deck.
Yeah, I'm thinking Paradoxical Outcome and like 4 Lorians revealed because they're good with Mana Drain.
Right. So is this a
Yeah,
matchup where you like the Dismantler?
yeah, sure.
Do you like yeah, we like Fragmentize against any like Saga deck basically.
Hmm.
So let's remove the plows. Kind of funny, we're removing the plows all games.
Yeah, I mean, what's dangerous here is like you remove the plows from against matchups, and then they have a whole breacher and
Mhm.
half your deck, triggers that.
Yeah, that's true. I think my the usual how I do it is like I'll adjust for game 3. I don't want to draw this card and just lose to like
Yeah,
normal blue cards, like lose a war because I had Swords to Plowshares.
yeah.
So how do you trim in a matchup like this? You need to trim some cards here to.
Um,
Do you like days on the draw? That should be pretty bad, right?
yeah, that's pretty bad.
What
What?
about do you like all the forces? Yeah, because we think our
I don't like
opponent's gonna do
yeah,
something broken.
I like the forces, yeah, because they will try to do something, like paradoxical. I don't like the 2 delve spells. You can always cut one.
Okay.
Um,
Which one
there's
do you
like
usually cut when you don't have any combos? Is Treasure Cruise better?
I think dig through time is better when you get to play, like Drogo, which might be the case.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
So do you like Mindbreak Traps? Like we're kind of guessing that it's gonna be strong against the deck, but we don't
Well,
really know.
definitely on the draw, I want my mind worked up. On the play, like we will maybe have more info.
Yeah,
And
let's see about that. Okay, I think I like this setup. Do you agree that this is like good setup?
yeah, I think so.
Okay, let's try and submit this and see what's going on. Basically, we just learned the opponent plays Ursa Saga, Mana Drain, and Dress Down, which is not going to win you a lot of games. Like you need some more stuff. Okay, on the draw here for game 2 against Mono Blue Mana Drain deck. What do you like about this hand? And what?
Everything. This is great.
You like everything about this hand? Yeah,
Yeah,
so funnily enough, when you just look at it fast, like it's like, oh, one land, Black Lotus. But this card just solves so many issues. Like it helps with so much stuff.
yeah.
The opponent keeps 7, and we're off to the races. Needle. What's the opponent going to name here? Wasteland?
What? Yeah, I'm thinking Wasteland, but it's kind of whatever.
Yeah, it's fine. What did they see last game? They just lost to like Ursa Saga, but it doesn't make sense to name that card when you play it yourself, in my opinion. Here's a Mana Crypt. So I guess
There's
the opponent's doing something. Okay.
So there's like you can tell that maybe they have a slight misunderstanding of the matchup. Like from the previous game, they forced to will the Lurus. They thought they would be able to go for the longer game.
Right.
And naming Wasteland is one symptom of that right now as well. Like they should just try to be as fast as possible because the long game is ours. So
Yeah. That's definitely... This deck allows the opponent to, let's say, misunderstand their role. And that's just also a strength of this deck, I feel like. Like, if you think you can grind this deck out, you're probably losing. If you think you can try and win turn 1, you're probably losing as well. Like, you need to pick your spots against this deck. I really like that. So, is this time for Spreading Seas to work some magic?
yes, for sure.
So,
And we can use the leftover mana to collect Lorien, maybe. We'll see.
yeah, so we can go... Oh, by the way, maybe I shouldn't even play that Saga out. Maybe that was a mistake.
Mm,
There's even... Yeah, I could have done something like bobble myself, see what I'm drawing.
yeah, because it's unlikely that you're not gonna make double blue. Yeah.
Exactly, because that would be a reason to it, so I could float like double blue, but I'm not going to need that. So right now, you think it's good to tap the Saga to cast the Spreading Seas, or you think it's just good to crack the Lotus?
No, I'm tapping the Saga. I'm tapping the Saga.
Okay. So let's do like this. We float 2 blue.
Yeah.
If my opponent Force a Wills, I'm going to Force a Will.
Yeah.
They pitch
And
Repeal down to 1 card, so...
They can Fluster, they don't have blue mana, so I'm not really worried. I would just fight the counter war.
How do you feel about pitching Lavinia here? We're kind of far away from casting Lavinia.
I don't like Lavinia. This.
So yeah, this would have been another reason to bobble ourselves, because we would have more info on what to pitch to the Force. I mean, fair enough. So we have mana floating, so let's cycle for a land here.
Yeah, should we look at their depth deck? Yeah, we'll look at theirs.
Yeah, exactly. So I go get a Tundra, look at the opponent's deck. They're drawing Mana Vault, so they have a bunch of colorless mana. Okay, so obviously a very good turn 1 for us here. Draw another Tundra, so if nothing happens, we can play Lavinia soon. Mana Vault, that's fine. We get the turn here. Saga goes to 2, we can't really activate it, but that's how it is. Ancestral Recall, nice draw.
Do we want to cast the main phase?
Yeah, let's do it now. We can hit like some artifact stuff or baubles or something that's going to make it a great play. Okay, we don't draw anything, but that's fine. So we're not getting any value out of the Saga aside from an artifact, but that's just fine. Let's see if we go... Yeah, we can get Black Lotus. No, we already have Black Lotus in the yard, so... None of that. Opponent's down to 13 from Mana Crypt flips. No play. I wonder what land we're getting here. What mana source, rather? I feel like we should...
I think it's Sol Ring, right?
Yeah, then we can put Lures to hand and play Lavinia.
I think we will do Dismantler and just like
Oh, you're
Kill.
looking to sacrifice it for 0, maybe?
Yeah, yeah, and then yeah, we can still hold like defenses up. Like we're so far ahead, we're just gonna take the most conservative line, I think.
But the thing about Lavinia is the opponent has
Yeah,
zero lands.
yeah, yeah, that also ends the game.
So I want to go play Lavinia, put Lurrus into hand, and then we can do this next turn, I guess.
Sure, sure, sure.
It's funny that opponent just doesn't have any lands, so this is just you can never play Magic. That's the text on that card.
Yeah.
Lavinia was really just a beating today.
Yeah.
Okay, so yeah, we've had 3 matches, so that's gonna do it for the gameplay part. I wanted to ask you a few more questions before letting you go, Mocked. I want to ask you about deck selection because when you play a lot of tournaments, sometimes you have to manage like not playing like super slow decks because maybe you have to play like 2 tournaments at the same time, but you also want to play a deck where you feel like you can leverage some skill. Do you know what I'm talking about here? Like the balance between sometimes the slow blue decks are the ones where that allows you to leverage your skill, but sometimes that's just not possible, like when you're double queuing and stuff. So what's your approach to that stuff?
So yeah, if I had all the time I wanted, I would probably always play more controlling decks. I think aggro decks are not good in any format. For the past few years, like sometimes there's a few decks here and there, but most of the time, and especially in vintage, like you have to be playing a deck like this. The blue decks, I think, have
Because
a
of
significant.
variance, or like what do you mean?
Uh,
Are you saying in vintage? So let's say you think like you're one of the best players, so you have to be playing a deck like this. Is that because of variance of like mulliganing a lot with Bazaar or Mono White or something along those lines?
yeah, sure. I think the other decks have a small like a low ceiling, and the only way you're able to win a lot in vintage is like at least like recently is like playing blue decks. Um, that's how that's how you like discover like he wins a challenge every other week. It's because he's playing a deck with lots of actions and he's playing like the most broken stuff. So yeah, I think choosing the correct deck is definitely how you.
So is that so when you play like standard and pauper, is your approach also to find like some mid-range or control deck with lots of decisions, or like what are you generally looking for when you're selecting your decks?
Okay, so the idea is that I want the game to include as many decisions as possible. Otherwise, it's just like more up to luck. But if you play blue decks, that usually means you go longer, and that gives your opponent, more chances to make a mistake. Um, and yeah, I guess this is my approach. That's why I prefer those decks
Yeah,
because this is how you win when there's like 100 actions and you're gonna be better at one of them.
right. So one thing is leaving yourself open, like having more options to play well, but you're also leaving options open for your opponent to mess up, basically.
Yeah, yeah, and you can't do that unless your deck is slow and able to handle a longer game.
Yeah, I really like that. I really like that. Like that perspective. It's like you find out what's your own skills, and then you try and exploit that as far as possible. Like that's super awesome. So I have one more question before we can kind of close down the show. Do you enjoy playing paper the most, or do you enjoy playing online the most? Like
Oh,
what do you
I
prefer?
definitely enjoy online a lot
Okay,
more. Yeah,
okay, but you also like paper, I guess.
uh, sure, it's fine. Maybe I'm used to online, but also you can be like more relaxed. You can just like do your own stuff, go make coffee, whatever.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can definitely relate to that, and I love playing just Magic in general. But just playing online for me is it's a different experience. It's not as stressful as playing in paper. That's for sure.
Yeah, exactly. It's the same for me.
Yeah, I mean that's gonna do it for today. I hope you had a great time. I really had a great time. I wanted to get your perspective on a lot of things because I think you're an inspiration. Like working from like from the bottom and then just working hard to get to the top. I think it's your story is really inspiring. So what I wanted to showcase, alongside playing some Vintage, of course. I hope you had a good time.
I had a good time. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, that's perfect. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna put like your Twitter and your Patreon on the description of the video. And I don't have anything left to say, but thank you so much for your time. And I'll see you in the next challenge, I guess.
See you on the opponent side.
Oh yeah. All right, guys. Thanks so much for watching today. I'll see you next time. Bye, everyone.